Welcome to Chiefs Live, everybody. Josh Looney here with you at One Arrowhead Drive. Chiefs Live brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Repping Stan's Barbecue today. Hats off to our folks out in Issaquah, Washington. Arrowhead West, they'll be featured this upcoming season. Hy-Vee Chiefs Insider and documentary on Chiefs Kingdom. Check it out. If you're ever around the Seattle area, go visit our man Stan and his barbecue joint. Thanks for love, Stan. Wearing the shirt with pride. Chiefs OTAs today, just off the field. In fact, they're actually finishing up the final minutes of their third OTA session right now. The big news straight from the practice field. It didn't take long. Dontari Poe, the Chiefs' first-round pick, after working with the third-team defense in his initial OTA debut, is with the starting group today when the Chiefs went to team. Dontari Poe, he might have gone in on Tuesday. That session was closed to the media, but at a minimum, it was just his third OTA practice it took for him to work with the ones. The rest of the Chiefs' situation on the offensive and defensive sides of the football stayed the same. The Chiefs opened up with double tight ends on Monday, giving Jake O'Connell a start opposite Kevin Boss with Tony Moeaki out. Today, it was a one tight end set. Boss was there at tight end. Dexter McCluster, the man who played exclusively running back last season, was lined up with the first team as a slot receiver. Devin Wiley, the Chiefs' fourth-round pick, backing him up. Another couple items of note from today's OTA. Cyrus Gray, the sixth-round draft pick, nursing some kind of injury. We'll probably learn more here later this afternoon from Romeo Crennel, also nursing an injury. It looked a little bit more serious just because he had a walking boot on his left ankle. Jeff Allen, the second-round pick of the Chiefs, out today as well. We'll cover everything that's been going on with OTAs today. Mitch Holthus will join us at 12:15 p.m. Taking a look at the show, we'll look at what happened yesterday in Leavenworth, Kansas, briefly at the start of Chiefs Live. Pretty cool stuff going on and some back storylines that are pretty interesting, I think, going on with this Chiefs team and the military. As I said, this whole show, most of it's going to be OTA reaction and analysis. We'll tell you who's in, who's out, who's working where, especially at safety, where it's a position of opportunity. It's wide open. It's the wild, wild west at safety with Travis Daniels and Terrence Parks, an undrafted rookie free agent out of Florida State, working right now with the first team, with Lewis and Barry both being held out because of injury. And, of course, football on Aruba. I'm not going to divulge exactly what we're talking about with football on Aruba. Let's just say it involves the Chiefs cheerleaders. So that's not always a good thing when we're talking football on Aruba. Yesterday, let's go to Leavenworth, Kansas. The Chiefs were out there visiting the soldiers at Fort Leavenworth, and they also held a Play 60 event at Patton Junior High School. The background to this story, however, isn't just the Chiefs going to Fort Leavenworth as they have for the third straight year. It's the connections the Chiefs have in their background with the military. Of course, we all know Romeo Crennel and his military background was a military brat, an Army brat. He had his father was I believe a sergeant in the U.S. Army, and he went from town to town, never in one place at one time as his father was stationed. But the Chiefs also have an interesting player who's kind of slipped through the cracks as signing last year when he joined the practice squad. Caleb Campbell gained a lot of notoriety back in the 2008 draft, 2007 or 2008, I believe. He was the first player drafted out of West Point since 1997. It was by the Detroit Lions in the 7th round. And Caleb Campbell is now linebacker for this year's Chiefs team, trying to find a reserve spot behind starters Derek Johnson and Jovan Belcher. He's actually a lieutenant in the Army, active lieutenant in the Army. And those of you that know his story know that the Army didn't let him go to the NFL at first. He served a 2-year duty with the U.S. Army after being selected by the Detroit Lions, so didn't get to do his rookie year until 2010. He's bounced around the league since being able to be done with his military commitment, which I mentioned he's still not completely done because he is an active lieutenant in the U.S. Army. But the background story of Caleb Campbell and being a U.S. officer and then going to Fort Leavenworth and teaching kids football, teaching kids, these are all kids of military families. Their parents, either their mother or their father, are stationed in Fort Leavenworth. They go to school in Fort Leavenworth. It was especially meaningful yesterday to Caleb Campbell when he was able to make that visit. Let's hear what he had to say.
And a lot of these guys, along with the young kids, boys and girls, that either their mother or their father are deployed overseas, and they're not seeing them from 8 to 12 months, and that's got to be hard on any type of kid. And you start realizing it's not just their mother, their father, the man or woman who's wearing the uniform that are making the sacrifices. These young kids are making sacrifices too, and I don't think not every kid can endure that. This is a special group of kids, and they're going to be part of something special when they're growing up. They're understanding the word selfless, And a lot of kids in our nation, in our country today, do not understand the word selfless. So it's really humbling to see. You know, it's been a long journey, but a special one to me. Being part of a military family for you know, throughout college and a couple years after graduation, and being part of that family and knowing how much they look up to the football players and to the people that play in the National Football League. It's really humbling to know that I've gotten the opportunity to be on both sides of the road in that occasion. So it's been a great run for me, and I'm really excited to be here and be able to be part of this. We're doing a lot of bicep curls, tricep exercises, and some shoulder exercises. It's funny, they kind of find it kind of joking around with it, but these are the same workouts and exercises that we do, you know, with more resistance, of course, but it's kind of cool to, you know, start implementing this in their lives at such a young age.
Caleb Campbell's an inspiring story in his road to trying to make the Chiefs team. He is a player who has just as good a chance as any to make this year's roster. Brandon Seiler is really the only veteran with recent experience behind starters Jovan Belcher and Derek Johnson, but Seiler's out with that Achilles injury he suffered last preseason. The Chiefs also signed Leon Williams, a guy who was a former fourth-round pick of Cornell in Cleveland and most recently played with the Dallas Cowboys in 2010, but was out of football in 2011. Those reserve positions at inside linebacker are wide open. Caleb Campbell definitely has a great story to tell, and he was able to make an especially meaningful visit to Fort Leavenworth yesterday as he, Romeo Cornell, and Derek Johnson, whose father was in the Navy, were able to play with military kids. They taught him the principles of Play 60. They also signed autographs at the PX, which is basically the Walmart on the campus of Fort Leavenworth. So a pretty cool day yesterday. Let's get straight to Chiefs OTAs. Who's in, who's out? As you know by now, the Chiefs are holding a few of their left knee ACL injuries out of this year's OTAs. The assumption right now is that Eric Berry, Tony Moeaki, and Jamaal Charles, none of those three players will participate in OTAs. Now, they are doing some stuff to the side, and they look good. They've been doing some agility work. You're seeing Tony there and Jamaal. This is basically during a walking. You see Charlie Weiss right there. He was at practice earlier this week taking in the Chiefs' first OTA practice. Charlie in his KU black apparel there. He watched from the 50. But you see Jamaal talking with Cyrus Gray. The veterans are doing a lot of coaching up right now. But when the Chiefs aren't walking through or going through team and they go to individual drills, Tony, Eric, and Jamaal are all going through the agility ladders. They're running sprints. They're doing strength things. So it's not all standing around for these guys at OTAs. They're doing a lot of work. And really, on the side field, it's encouraging to see the movement that they're doing. The Chiefs basically just being cautious right now. No need to rush a guy back. In the case of all three of the knee injuries, it's been about 8 months since their surgeries occurred. Generally a 6 to 9 month recovery period for left ACL tears, meaning by the time the Chiefs open training camp in St. Joseph at the end of July, the Chiefs should be full go with their left ACL injuries. A couple other guys sitting out for the Chiefs right now this offseason include Kendrick Lewis, the Chiefs safety. He had offseason shoulder surgery, but he also revealed another injury he had on Monday. It was tackling Tim Tebow. If you remember in Week 17 against the Broncos, forced a fumble. He tore his pectoral muscle. We asked Kendrick about that injury and the frustration he has of having to sit out of OTAs. Here's what he had to say.
How much pain did you play through last season?
Oh, man, it was an enormous amount of pain, but I had to. I had to suck it up. I was in a position, we had lost Eric. It was me returning as a starter. I had to go out there and perform, even though, you're going to play. This is football. This is a contact sport. You're going to play with pain. But I was able to overcome it and, put together a good season.
When was it you got hurt?
I got hurt when I tore my pec. I got hurt to play when Tebow fumbled. That was the actual play I got hurt. Okay. And I just finished the game, man. I didn't know. I just wanted to win a ball game and help my team win a ball game. So I stuck it out, toughed it out, and we got x-rays afterwards and dealt with it after.
Okay, so it was the last game of the year?
Yeah, I got injured the last game of the year.
And it was your pec, not your shoulder?
Yes, it was my shoulder pad.
With Kendrick, it's also a precautionary measure keeping him out with his shoulder and pectoral muscle. He's also working on the side with Berry, Moeaki, and Charles, as well as Seiler, who's recovering from that Achilles injury. Of course, Eric Berry and Kendrick Lewis are also serving as the veterans of that defensive back line. Gone is John McGraw. Gone is Savvy Piscatelli. Gone is Rashard Langford, the only player to make a start for the Chiefs at strong safety last season, and there were 4 of them after Berry suffered the season-ending knee injury during the first defensive series of the year. The only one who drew starts that returns is Donald Washington. He has just 5 career starts at the position and spent his first full season in 2009 as a cornerback. So the Chiefs lacking veteran talent and veteran depth at the safety position. They've moved Travis Daniels there for this offseason. Daniels has played in 41 games with the Chiefs since 2009. 95% of his snaps have come as a cornerback, though he has had safety experience in a prior stop in Miami. Kendrick Lewis talks about getting back on the field with Eric Berry, who are sure to be the Chiefs' number 1 and 2 options this year at safety.
Do you guys talk much about how fun, because you didn't get to play together very much last year?
Oh, that's all we talk about, man. You know, he's coming back healthy. I'm coming back off injury. So all we talk about is the things that we talked about when we first got in here, trying to be great, trying to be the best at our position, you know, trying to help this team become a greater team. So that's the type of conversation me and Eric have on a daily basis.
Now that you guys each have a little bit of time under your belt in the NFL, once you get on the field together, the two of you, how much better can you be than what we saw your rookie year?
Oh, it can be a lot better. It can be a lot better. Just like, you know, we know each other. You know, we've played along each other. We got a great feel for each other. We know what he's thinking, what I'm thinking. And it's just that combined effort that we bring together as a group, you know, that's going to show this upcoming year.
What's interesting with the Chiefs safety situation is that Washington, I mentioned he's the only player with starting experience from last season back there, is actually working with the second team right now as a free safety behind Daniels, and the Chiefs also have paired with Daniels rookie free agent Terrence Parks. Now, what's interesting about Parks, not only the fact that he's a rookie free agent that got the nod as the first team safety. Right now he's working ahead of Kyle McCarthy, who's a veteran in this league. Been more of a special teams player. The Chiefs picked him up from the Broncos this past offseason. But what's interesting about Parks is he was a high school teammate of Eric Berry. The two started with one another in Fairborn, Georgia at Creekside High School for 3 years. So right now when Terrence Parks goes off the field with the first teamers, he goes straight and makes a beeline to Eric Berry to talk about what calls he needs to make, what reads, as Terrence Parks is in that strong safety position that Eric Berry plays, and in place of Lewis right now at free safety is Daniels, who's more of the cover guy as a corner. What Parks is known for in his days at Florida State is being more of a run defender, being more of a box defender, a guy who can step up and fill in against the run. He had just 1 career interception at Florida State. It was a big one. It was a big one against the Florida Gators that made a difference in a Florida State victory. But Parks is more of an inside-the-box type of safety. He must have done something, anything, at that rookie minicamp to get the starting nod. Yes, it is by necessity right now, but somebody of these 19 defensive backs on the Chiefs roster has to be the starter when the Chiefs run out without Lewis and without Berry during OTAs, and that ended up being Parks. And Parks is trying to make the most of his opportunity.
Terrence, where there's injury, there's opportunity, and you got that opportunity today. How did you think it went working with the ones?
Man, I feel like it's always room to get better, man. Of course, when you're out there, you get an opportunity like that, you have to take advantage of it. But like I said, it's tough, it's complex. It's tough, it's complex, and it was a great opportunity.
I noticed that you'd come off and you made a beeline right to 29 every time.
Oh yeah, man, I have to, because of course they know what they're doing. And him, Barry, Lewis, the whole secondary, they was in my ear the whole time, and all the rookies, they really helped us out, and we appreciate it.
Is that also fun because when you guys play together?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know each other.
Of course, that's my good friend. So of course, it makes me comfortable out there, and just to have him on the sideline, just in my ear, it makes things slow down a little bit more.
Were you you're behind him?
Yeah, I'm a year younger than him.
You're younger than him. But you guys played next to each other for 4 years?
Yeah, actually 3 years.
3 years.
He was older than me, and played high school together, ran track together, everything.
It's rare that a rookie gets to run with the ones on the first day. It's kind of Romeo Crennel saying to start them all as reserves. Obviously, the injury situation brought you into that spot. Today, what do you think it was at rookie camp that he chose you to be the guy who's run with the ones?
Man, I have no idea. They make all the calls up there, man. I leave that all to them, man. I'm just here to work hard and do whatever they need me to do, man.
It's a little nerve-wracking when you're fresh out of a rookie minicamp and you're an undrafted guy and you get to go out there and run with it.
I mean, of course it's different, but just for me, man, I'm ready for that type of thing, man. Just throw me out there. I'm gonna do what I can, you know. I'm ready for the challenge. Yes, sir.
Well, Parks obviously did something right on Monday because he was out there working with the first team again on Thursday for Chiefs OTAs. And when you see a guy who's a rookie free agent that goes out there and with the injury situation the Chiefs have at safety, with their pursuit of still trying to sign a veteran safety, with Yermai Bell coming in, ultimately signing with the Jets, with O.J. Atagwai coming in after the draft. The Chiefs, it would be a shock if they did not sign a veteran safety, whether it ends up being a guy like Jim Leonard or someone that's out there with starting experience. It makes sense for the Chiefs to address that position, but in the interim, they've got to run guys out there without much experience. And Parks is one of those guys, but you take it with a grain of salt this time of year, especially with this Chiefs team and that injury situation. And you think, well, maybe they're going to just rotate guys in as the week goes. No, Parks was out there again today with the first team defense. So there's something the Chiefs like about Parks. He had a career high 99 tackles last year. As I mentioned, a former teammate of Eric Berry. So put him on the list. We all like to make our list of these undrafted free agents. There's always one or two guys that end up making a team every single year. Circle Parks. Right now he's doing something to get the coaches' notice, and he's going to try and make the best of his opportunity. Ultimately, he'll also have to contribute on special teams. That's probably how he'll make this team, if he can make this team. But the opportunity he's getting right now is a rare opportunity. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Mitch Holthus will join us for not only his thoughts on how Parks and the rest of the Chiefs safeties are doing, but we'll talk about Dexter McCluster's switch to playing wide receiver. We'll be right back on Chiefs Live, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers.
Together, we are music. Hearts beating to the same drum. We are many, but we are one. Brothers of the Sun.
The concert event of the year. Brothers of the Sun Tour. Superstars Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw. With Grace Potter and the Nocturnals and Jake Owen. Tickets are on sale now. Presented by Corona Light.
So I'm sit right here and have another beer in Mexico. It's summertime. Sweet summertime.
The new Chiefs team store is located on the Founders Plaza on the north side of the new Arrowhead Stadium. Open on game days and from 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday throughout the season, the team store has the largest selection of Chiefs merchandise in the Kansas City area. Featuring official sideline apparel from Reebok, and you can shop 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at kcchiefs.com.
Welcome back to Chiefs Live, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Josh Looney, Mitch Holthus coming fresh off the practice field. Caught the final 15 minutes of team.
My OTA look.
When I had to bounce out 15 minutes early. They were just getting started. I told our viewers it didn't take long. Dontari Poe works at the first team defense today as the starting nose tackle. But one of the most popular things I do after each OTA match is I put a notebook. And these notebooks, they get a ton of views, and a lot of people want to see the play of the day. And in Monday's play of the day, it was without a doubt Jonathan Baldwin's kind of diving catch. He beats Stanford route and man-to-man coverage. Castle throws a beautiful deep ball over the outside shoulder. That's what you want to see. It looked like mid-season form. I didn't get to see a whole lot.
And he was in bounds, wasn't he?
He was in bounds. We got pictures from Steve Sanders.
We do have it. Okay.
It's on the kcchiefs.com and the OTA opening day notebook. So since you saw the majority of teamwork, and I only got to see the first few snaps, what were our highlights from practice today?
Well, the thing today was they were in the sub package. So you saw some sub work, not only just for the defense, but for the offense. And you could see where maybe long term with Dontari Poe, that he's a guy that can stay on the field when you go sub package. Because in the past, as you know, whomever you had in the nose, whether it's slant nose or in the A gap or whatever, they would come out. So with Poe's athleticism, not saying we got to be careful the OTAs that we start writing commandments like the 11th commandment is Poe will always.
Especially with the amount of non-contact.
Yeah, exactly. But you kind of see what they're thinking. You see what they're thinking a little bit. And the point is that they went sub package, but they were running out of the sub package today. I would say sometimes I'll take what seems like an innocuous play and make it the play of the day. I'm going to give it to Peyton Hillis.
Okay.
Because he was running the ball today out of sub offense. So you show 3 wide, you're declaring Trump.
Sub offense.
Sub offense. You're declaring Trump, saying it's hearts. Oh, it's pass. No, you run the ball out of that. So you run the ball out of 3 wide. And today it was Peyton Hillis who had the sleeves. He was showing the guns.
He looks like Boomer Grigsby out there. I'm telling you.
Don't go there. I'm not going there.
Well, he does. The looks. People are like, Boomer Grigsby. He's got the same kind of upper body frame. He wears the jersey. Boomer used to roll up and show the guns at practice.
He had the guns coming out.
He's kind of got, the broad shoulders. They go up in the shorter neck because he's a big guy like Boomer. Obviously a much better player than Boomer Grigsby was. But
let's just
from a distance, he looks like Boomer Grigsby out there.
Let's put it this way. Boomer never hit the edge like this because it's a zone run, basically.
I didn't say he played like Boomer. I said he just looks like
there were
Boomer
a couple
from
times.
a distance.
A couple times they ran zone runs. Boomer would go. And you can see Hillis kind of look like a running back. So to me, I'm going to give it the play of the day. It's not some long pass. Jaleel Brown had a nice pass broken up. And so I'll throw that one in there. But I think it was just nice to see a Peyton Hillis out there able to get to the edge running out of a sub package on offense.
Mitch, I spend the majority of our first 15 minutes on this show talking about the Chiefs' safety situation and it being the wild, wild west out there, a position of opportunity. You've got 2 guys pretty unfamiliar with the position. Travis Daniels, who's a veteran, 8-year veteran, and has some history playing that position with Miami. With the Chiefs, he's played in 41 games, and 95% of the snaps have come as an outside corner or as a nickel or dime corner. So he hasn't played much safety here. So he's taking over at free right now with the number 1s in place of Kendrick Lewis, who the Chiefs are resting. And then in the strong position in place of Eric Berry is an undrafted rookie, Terrence Parks. And there's some, as I was saying, there's something he's doing right. And look, this kid's probably not going to come in if he makes this team. And if he made the team, he may not even be a guy who plays a single snap of safety all year if Eric Berry's out there, or if the Chiefs, like we think they're going to do, bring in a veteran safety. But the Chiefs coaches, obviously something about this kid early that they like to have him going not just every other day, but every practice so far, he's running with the 1s at strong safety.
Well, let's be careful. You don't do OTAs. I mean, people all across the NFL are grinding out articles on OTAs, trying to reach conclusions. No, they're OTAs. However, you also can kind of not give it enough importance in the case that you're talking about. Now, I think it's tough for Daquan Menzie that he's not out there getting some of these reps.
I should mention, I didn't mention Daquan. You'd think he would be out there as well, but he has a left hamstring injury he had in rookie minicamp. So you have Lewis, Berry, and Menzie all out, which shows you why Daniels and Parks are in there right now.
But the fact that Parks gets the chance to be out there and get reps. If you're a young player, Parks is a undrafted rookie free agent, whether you're him or like a lot of these receivers that they've got right now in camp are within OTAs, all you want are reps. Can I get reps with like the first or second team? And Parks is out there getting reps, whether it's sub or regular, and so he does get a chance. And you're right, there is a reason he's repping with the 1s. But even if Parks, it sets him up for a chance to go to camp with some equity, basically. Right. And now all of a sudden, when those guys come back, who gets the next look? Well, maybe it's Parks. And even if he doesn't make the team, it gives him an opportunity to get involved within the system, maybe practice squad or whatever, or get on the field early in a preseason game. So I'm with you. Any chance you get a rep, whether it's an OTA, camp, or whatever, and get on tape with the number 1s, that's a good thing if you're a rookie free agent.
When you're an undrafted guy, all you want is an opportunity. The most successful undrafted free agent of the Scott Pioli era so far has been Javon Belcher. How did he make the team? He was a maniac on special teams. He was a run and hit. He was a kickoff coverage guy. And, we got to keep this kid. He can run. He can hit. Well, then you had some injuries that started to happen in the early goings of that 2009 season. He started going in a little, I believe it was a Philadelphia Eagles game, they started putting him in the nickel sets. And then he started to, he's playing 10 snaps a game, doing pretty well, let's give him some more snaps. And then by the end of the year, it was he and Derek Johnson in all sub-package sets. And then the next year he's a starter, and now he's been a 2-season starter and had over 100 tackles last year for the Chiefs. So it's just getting that opportunity, and it's all you want if you're an undrafted guy. Parks is soaking up that opportunity right now, as you mentioned. Yeah, the stories hasn't even started. We've just written the first page, but it's a good start for a guy like Parks. Let's talk about one of the biggest things that's going on with a veteran that's drawn a lot of news at Chiefs OTAs. Dexter McCluster moving from running back to wide receiver. Now, we haven't heard from Coach Cornell yet. The press conference should be going on here in just a few minutes. So we don't know exactly what the Chiefs' plans are for him yet when we speak, and hopefully we'll know more later on today. But we do know last year he practiced exclusively as a running back. Rookie year, he was playing slot, he was playing running back. He practiced at both. Last year, from day one of training camp until the end of the season, he was practicing as a running back. Dexter McCluster, running back. This year, he's still listed on my roster here as a running back, Mitch.
Yeah.
He's practiced so far exclusively as a wide receiver, was as the #1 slot receiver today when the Chiefs opened up with the first-team offense against the first-team defense. What do you take about McCluster working as a slot?
Well, here's where I think we have to be careful. Let's go back to the be careful with OTAs and think this is some kind of postulate of the Pythagorean theorem. Like, wow, this is a statement of truth that will be there all the time. I think this is more of a situation where they want to look at it. I get a feeling with Brian Daboll, he wants to say, all right, what do I have here in the fact that I do have tape on him as running back? Let's put him out there in that Z position or flanker slot and just take a look at getting him some, what do we have here? How is he at running routes? How is he at capturing the offense? And I still think they're trying to figure out what to do there. I don't think they've probably definitely decided what they're going to do, but it's still that question mark of where is he going to best fit into this team, where he's going to make the biggest impact, where can they create mismatch issues? Because by putting him at receiver, it's interesting. His biggest plays have been when he's had some mismatches. I mean, the play against San Francisco his rookie year when they had him at running back against LeBoy, and he did it again last year against LeBoy, but not for a touchdown. But it seems like Dexter's best if he's in mismatches. So now what they're doing with him, his mismatch would be he's going to be against a nickel, usually. And so he's in a sub package, say, against the nickel. Can he beat a nickel corner? All right. That's probably what they're trying to figure out here. But there's still going to be the third running back. Cyrus Gray was not there today. He's got some kind of injury. He was there today, but he wasn't working out.
On the bikes.
You got Hillis, who looked great today. It was like, yay, signing Peyton Hillis. That's what I got out of today's OTA session was Peyton Hillis. Yay. So you know you got there, but you got a third running back waiting there someplace. That still could be Dexter. We don't know. Could be Cyrus Gray. We don't know. And some of this has to also deal with the development of the wide receiver position, whether that's Wiley or somebody like Josh Bellamy comes up the outside rail or something like that. So I would be careful if I'm a fan or for any of us to put it down in ink like McCluster will be a receiver all his life.
Now, we talked to Dexter McCluster earlier this week about the move from running back to wide receiver, and he basically said as much, Mitch, saying that, well, he's working receiver today. Tomorrow he'll go wherever they say. Here's what Dexter McCluster said about moving to wide receiver.
Dexter, last year they told you were going to be a full-time running back. Have they told you what you're going to do this year? Is it full-time receiver? Is it a bit of both? Where are you going to be practicing?
You know what? Today I did some receiver. Tomorrow I don't know. So the great thing about the sport is learning everything you can. So wherever they ask you to be, you don't miss a beat.
Was this the first time since, I guess, it would have been 2010 that you practiced at receiver? Or did you do a little bit early last season, too?
I did a little bit early last season, but, I felt good out there. Just running around, legs felt good, and, I just want to go out there and compete.
Brian Daboll's a game plan coach, a matchup coach. He's going to move guys around, and we're seeing kind of glimpses of this new offensive system in place here in Kansas City. And Eric Winston left his first practice pleased that the Chiefs were running a lot of outside zone plays. That's what he liked at Houston. Brian Daboll, his history, although the Chiefs did run some zone plays last year, zone blocking, Bill Muir and his history was power man-to-man. That was what he's an expertise in. You look at Brian Daboll, Miami, of all the offenses last year in the National Football League, was as man-to-man power blocking as it gets. Not much zone there at all, and that's because of the same ties that Muir had. Tony Sperano's the head coach, Daboll's working under him. It all goes back to Parcells in the 80s and 90s and that bigger, stronger offensive lineman and the blocking there. So Eric Winston, that was kind of a selling point on his free agent visit, Mitch, he had in his mind, okay, you've got Romeo Crennel who's connected to Parcells. You have Daboll who was under Sperano last year. Muir was the previous OC and the previous O-line coach, and he had what is known as one of the best coaches for that type of blocking. This place may not be for me, it may, and then they say, no, Eric, we're going to run a bunch of zone blocking this year. And he said, okay, I like that. And he liked that after practice on Monday. What have you taken away from what you've seen out of this new scheme and kind of what you think Brian's trying to do here in his first few practices as an offensive coordinator?
Here's what I like about Brian Dable. I think he goes to his personnel and maximizes personnel. You and I have talked about it a lot. I thought in the week we played Miami last year, he used his personnel to a T, putting them in a situation where they could be successful. I love what he's doing so far in the fact that because you can be a zone team and still have a power package. Bill Muir was coming more of a power package and run some zone plays. You just alluded to it. Right. What is your D variable, but what do you do ABC? It looks like ABC for the Chiefs could be the zone run game. And I think that's all about Jamal Charles and Peyton Hillis. I think he's trying to fit his personnel with this and to fit to what his offensive line does well. Because this to me looks like a good zone blocking, perhaps offensive line team. And so, particularly with Winston, and it worked okay in Houston, Sierra and Foster. To me, the running backs will be interesting to watch, and you can watch some of this in OTA. We won't see Jamal out there a lot, but the kind of one-cut scheme, if you run the zone, am I going play side, or am I cutting it back? And today, Sean Drawn was doing some of that and missed the cutback. It would have been a 20-yard run. Some backs never get it.
Cyrus hit the cutback on
Cyrus
Monday.
hit a cutback, but
Not
some of it's
Monday.
instinct. Some of it is, but Jamal's a very instinctive player. Larry Johnson never got that. I mean, he just couldn't get the down. It's like he would cut back when no one's supposed to in place. But the point is, you asked me the question. Here's what I like about Brian Dable. I think he looks, here's what I've got. What can I do best to fit them? Instead of saying, by God, here's what we do, and I'm going to try to fit my guys into that. I think what I've seen from his flexibility and him studying personnel and trying to put them in a position where they can best succeed. And I like that a lot.
And Eric Winston liked it a lot and talked about what he thinks it's going to take for the Chiefs to succeed in this new offensive system. Let's take a look.
So how important to that end when you're coming to a new offensive line is a situation like the OTAs for you?
Well, with this system, you have to. Everyone's got to be together. Everyone's got to be working together, and not only just working together, but communicating and doing the right thing. So it's a big change, obviously, for everybody. It's going to be tough. There's going to be some tough days ahead. I think you got to prepare for that. But I think the thing is that I think we have the right personnel, we have the right coaches, we have the right scheme to be successful. And I think we got to keep pushing and just keep moving towards that goal. And we'll have to just work through those hard days when they come.
How well do you know Dable's offense to this point personally?
Well, probably as good as everybody else around here. It's all kind of learning. Obviously, we're doing some outside zone stuff in the run game, which I'm really familiar with from my days in Houston. Protections are a little different, but you still got to block the guy in front of you. So you get it to that simple level and go after it.
It's clearly like a kind of different day on the calendar when it feels like kind of a first day, even though you guys have been here.
Sure. Oh, it's always kind of everyone's a little excited. Everyone's going pretty hard and excited to go out there and be in the pads on the first time, or not pads but helmets, and so it's everyone's excited. But I think when you kind of get into the grind of fourth, fifth day, and you start settling in, and you start realizing that you're back to work and you're doing stuff, and it's gonna be a grind. It always is, but you got to do it to get to where you want to be. So.
Winston's just so impressive. He had his radio show in Houston, so he's a guy who's impressive in the media, but he's impressive at stature. Everything's big about him, to his mouth and lips, Mitch. Like, everything is big about him. You alluded to as we were watching that interview is this guy looks like an offensive lineman.
Listen, where's Lenny? Lenny wins a world championship because he had incredible offensive linemen. Okay, here's my guy Lenny. I can wear my Joplin hat. He had incredible offensive linemen, and this guy reminds me of a John Alt, Jim Tyre type of lineman. First of all, he's smart, tough, but what he's going to do to help John Asamoah and Rodney Hudson and going right down the line of Donald Stevenson, I think we can't put a value on it. There's just all kinds of add-on with this guy. The other thing, and kind of hearing alluded to that, he was talking about protections. But with the zone scheme, and they're going to do a bunch of other stuff other than run zone, but in the zone scheme, it really sets up a nice play pass. You have to have a mobile quarterback to play pass off a zone scheme, meaning I'm going to show zone run, and that zone's going to the outside, meaning you're kind of looking at Winston's butt, but I'm going to play pass. And with a mobile quarterback like Matt Castle, he can run then like a short boot or throw play passes off that zone run. And so I just think there's a lot of things they can do with this, particularly if you can hold those blocks. And with Eric, he's proven he can do it. But you'll slow down some of those people just running up to the box in the zone game. There's just a lot to like about the system, about this guy, and this will be the best offensive line when healthy the Chiefs have had in what, 7 years?
Yeah, probably. I guess maybe when Willie left.
I think when Will Shields left in 06.
Well, that's when everything crumbled down. But that line, I mean,
but there was still a glimmer of hope. There was like bubble gum and baling wire. When Will left, the lights went out.
Well, the lights were out when Will left, but that last year he was basically just holding on to everything. I think 05 was probably the last year the Chiefs had a really solid offensive line. Also, the good thing about Eric Winston, he had the ankle scoped out at the end of last season. Said he came into the Chiefs, said he was 100% healthy. Well, the actions are matching the words. He's taken every snap with the Chiefs so far during OTAs. It looks like he has no issues with the ankle injury that he had last season and ended up getting worked on after the year.
And the other thing would be rhythm. I think with Eric, when the Houston Texans were in rhythm last year, they were great to watch. We think about rhythm in the passing game. They had rhythm in the running game. Those linemen get up there, they're ready to go, footwork and angles and stuff. And so it'd be exciting to see this running game getting rhythm again.
You mentioned Matt Castle, Mitch, and he's the hottest topic for the Chiefs, both locally and nationally with the fan base. And pretty much anyone who follows this team, the Chiefs getting a lot of love nationally about their prospect of winning the West, making the playoffs. But that seems to be with everybody. But can Matt Castle get there? Can Matt Castle be a guy who can win a playoff game? Can Matt Castle take this team that looks like has so much talent, when healthy, to the next level? It's a big season for Matt. Matt's said that as much himself. Everyone knows that's nothing secret. It's a huge season for Matt Castle here in Kansas City. How do you think he's been, from your impression, approaching this big year? And mentally, how does he look out there? And what have you seen from him on the OTA field?
I think he's refreshed. Now, I'm going to have to build my own nuclear power plant or get a wind turbine in my backyard because I'm spending energy every day defending Matt Castle. I get rocks thrown at me. Twitter goes crazy, but I'm going to defend him. I mean, the guy was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago. We can go through all that again. But I think he's refreshed with Brian Dable, with this system, and seeing kind of the big picture globally of what Brian wants to do with this offense, and then looking at the guys around him. Now, it'd be nice to have Bo here. It'd be nice when Bo gets here that he's on shape and ready to run those routes. I'm going to talk about it all summer on this show. The wide receiver position, being precise. To me, that is the biggest factor in helping Matt Castle jump up to the next level. But so far, and I've had a chance to talk to Matt a little bit, he's liking it. He likes what he sees in the guys around him. He likes what he sees in the system, and he likes this offensive coordinator.
When it comes to Dwayne Bowe's situation, I get a bunch of stuff from fans daily, whether it's email, whether it's Twitter, whatever it may be, comments and bottoms with articles. And the contract situation with Dwayne has a lot of people feeling uneasy. And my response is always, it's early. It's May. You have 2 months until he can sign a long-term deal that would take effect in place of the franchise tag for next season. That would be for cap and all that stuff. Even if he doesn't agree to a long-term deal, if they're working towards that in the front office and he signs the franchise tender, he can agree to one like an extension like Jamal did a couple years ago, like Derek Johnson has done, and that can happen as well. I think you nailed it on the head there, Mitch, when you're talking when he comes back, if Dwayne is 100%, if he's healthy, if he's been committed, because I don't have any fear in my mind that Dwayne Bowe isn't going to play for the team this year, and whether that's just a one-year deal or a long-term, I don't know. That's for his agent and for the Chiefs front office to figure out. But I don't think it's a question of is Dwayne Bowe going to play. I think the question is when he comes back, and if this drags out through all these OTAs, there's only about 3 more weeks of them left, so it very well could, and it probably very well will happen. So when he comes in and reports in training camp or in the preseason, whenever it may be, what shape is he? How's he able to run his routes? Is he going to be able to be the Pro Bowl form guy, or even the guy last year? It's route running, it's in shape, and he's a guy who, over his career, I think Mitch has needed the repetition of off-season, and so I think that's the biggest question with Dwayne Bowe, not the contract, is when he gets here, is he ready to contribute right then?
And by the way, here's your playbook, here's your laptop, here's your iPad.
New system.
Go.
No one's talking
New
about that
system.
with Dwayne Bowe either.
And consistent. Consistent. Route running, catching, is it happen all the time, every time. It's what you see with the Larry Fitzgeralds, the Reggie Waynes, the guys in this league, because that position gets a lot of of attention, but the best ones in this league are consistent. And the fact that if he comes in, he's got to be in shape, because I've said this before, this team needs to hit the ground running when they get to St. Joe, not like last year, and hit the ground running when they play the Arizona Cardinals in that preseason game. It doesn't count, but it matters. And hit the ground running when Atlanta shows up, because I do think that it's important for this team to get off to a good start at every one of those levels. And Dwayne Bowe has got to be ready when he walks in here to hit the ground running like everybody else, because there is a feeling around this building that is that feeling. Like, hey, it is only May, going into June, but this stuff all matters because we are going to do this on the double quick and hit it. So first it has to be with all the things you mentioned, but he's got to be physically and mentally ready to go. But for him to be an elite receiver in this league, he's got to be consistent in all phases.
You know what else matters, Mitch, is studio time. This time of year for us is it's one of our busiest times of year, and we're actually going to cut the show short at about 12:50 today because this studio is going to turn into what you see on the big boards at Arrowhead, where the players are going to come in here, they're going to do all their things. We film them all now so you can enjoy them, and they can be awesome in the fall. So we'll end here in about 9 minutes. So I think we covered the big topics of OTAs, and it's been an action-packed first week of OTAs. Romeo Crennel is going to be talking here with the media in just a bit. So we'll have more today on KCChiefs.com as we continue to bring you coverage of OTAs. And Mitch, I want to close the show with you. Well, in fact, you don't know what we're doing right now, so I'm just going to go to the video.
I rarely know what you're doing.
You were on vacation last week, and we've got some exclusive
That was not vacation. That was work.
We'll let the viewers judge.
I was on the clock.
Vacation, or was this work?
I was on the clock.
Right here's where you build division champions. That's what I'm saying, right here. Right here. Other people sleeping? Chargers, you sleeping? Raider heads? What are they doing right now? Look at this. That's what I'm saying. It's real. Switch muscles, switch muscles. What goes up must what? There we go, here we go.
Where are we going?
You come here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. Here we go. Number 2 receiver. Keith is the mic. He's the mic backer. He'll tell you guys who to cover. Rip and Liz, all right? I want a good, clean game. And most importantly, we're having a good time. Sudden change, sudden change, sudden change. Take it. Go.
Yeah, looked like a lot of work there you were doing, man.
I'm on the clock, brother.
I want to ask you before you even explain.
Did I look like Rodney Hudson?
No, you look.
I'm making line calls.
What in the world were you doing? You got into this. This one is slow-mo. You tried to kill a cheerleader. She went to the pylon. I want you to see that.
No, this is saving a pick six, is what this is.
Look at you. If we
this is saving a pick six.
Here, you are trying to look at you. You got your. Go back one more time.
This is called sudden change. This is called conversion.
Mitch, you bite your lip and try to throw her into chairs at the side.
This is called a conversion with an offensive lineman being aware, because Stinking Brian Johnston throws a pick.
Look at you. You're going to
She's going all the
Look
way.
at your
We
face.
win 21-7.
What are you doing?
That's
You're
right.
mad. Did she do something to you?
That's right. Well, and I've got some guy freaking out on me, playing the nose on me, and I'm doing line calls, snapping the ball to Brian Johnston. He throws a pick. I got to save the day. Nobody's going to get over and convert. It's called conversion, people. Those are the little things that win games, just saying.
Mitch was in Aruba with, if you notice the referee, a Chiefs fan, you can enter each year to win. The Arrow Man, you've seen him at games. He was hanging out in Aruba with the Chiefs cheerleader. You also had Keith Cash was there.
I got to put this out, though. Can I put this out? I know we're over time.
You actually still got like 2 or 3 minutes. We'll be all right.
We played a Rip Liz cover 3 defense because I was center on offense, but defensive coordinator. I'm lining up the Mike, the Rip, and the Liz. Did you hear it?
I heard you.
Who's free safety back there? Johnny Robinson. Tammy Holtis, the former K-State point guard, 2 interceptions. After the second pick, all the cheerleaders, just spontaneous, MVP. MVP. I got to say, it did a little something for me. But it was pretty cool.
Brian Johnson throwing picks, former voice of the Pittsburgh State Gorillas football, now a sponsorship salesman.
I'm his center. I'm going, quit throwing picks. Run the ball. We're up 21-7.
I just find it interesting that every year you manage to find your way on that trip. Every year. And you always, just like, until we actually show the footage, you're always like, yeah, it's work. No, I get entertain sponsors, got to teach this football side. And then we get this footage of you trying to kill cheerleaders after pick sixes on the beach and throw them into beach chairs.
It's called winning, baby. It's called winning divisions. It's called being.
Yeah, that's a good way to finish the show.
What's the conversion? See
how
far I have. See how far I
went. Look at
went.
yourself in the mirror. Watch your face after you.
Boom.
She was our Pro Bowl cheerleader last year.
That's
man.
right.
That is Jenna. You're trying to take the All-Stars.
That's right. 6-year veteran.
This is before the season. This is like
look at
Jamal
it. See,
Cruz
sudden
year
change.
2.
See, sudden change. Our defense had to come out and play, and we stopped him on that play.
I don't know. It doesn't look like work, and it doesn't look like Mitch is a very good sport after the picks are being thrown by former voice of the girls. We'll be back with you next week on Chiefs Live, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers.
MVP.
More OTA coverage coming your way. Thanks for joining us.